And Joe, you already kind of are getting into common swim problem number 2. So I'll go ahead and identify what that is. And that is experiencing big time contact with another swimmer. And sometimes, like you just said, that can affect your goggle setup because it's a direct strike to the face. But this can be getting kicked, getting punched, getting slapped, getting dunked, swam over, sideswiped, T-boned. It's all on the table out there. People get swam over. People just get walloped in the side and lose their breath. If we take some big time contact, what do we do? How do we handle it?
I think the first thing is always self-check. I mean, you have to kind of evaluate. You've got to keep your bearings and say, am I injured? Am I in pain? Am I just stunned? Most of the time, we're just stunned. We're not injured. And in those situations, that's a reset moment. But I tend to focus on, I need to find space. I need to find space for myself. So that's okay to sit up for a moment. If you are in the mix of mayhem, like thousands of swimmers, there's just no room to swim. Maybe that means scooting to the left or right, get to the side, find some space for yourself. You don't want to battle. I tend to start the swim up front. There is a lot of big guys that, think they're going to win the Ironman that day. I mean, they're all set to, beat Christian Blumenfeld on, from the moment the gun blows, they're out to dominate that swim. And it's, it tends to fuel me when I get cold cocked, and I tend to have choice words for some.
Do you ever retaliate, Joe? Just kind of give them an elbow or let them know, hey, someone's over here.
Yeah, I've said things underwater thinking, can they hear me? Can they hear my words? But I have to tend to rein myself in and think, okay, what am I doing in this moment? I'm not injured. I'm going to scoot to the side of this big guy because I don't want to battle him anymore. He's kicked me. He's, all of the things. But if in the instance that you do feel like you've suffered an injury, I had an instance, I think it was in Cozumel one year, where I contemplated whether I had a broken nose. There are situations where, and sometimes it takes a few minutes, where slow your stroke down, focus on swim form, breathe every stroke to your natural side, make sure you're securing good inhale and exhale, because sometimes that will alleviate pain and kind of bring you back to a center where you're like, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's kind of settling yourself down. In those moments, your adrenaline spikes, your heart rate spikes. You don't want to just gun it, because that's not good for you as far as the full swim or the full day. So kind of reining yourself back and kind of checking on yourself, seeing if you're okay to continue. If you are not okay to continue, you're going to know pretty quickly. And that's when you need to be smart about safety and your own health and flagging down help or getting to a kayak. Contact is that's the name of the game. It is a lot better than it used to be when we had mass starts. I encourage guys out there, girls out there, to be respectful of other swimmers around them. We're not going to win it in that first 500 yards of the Ironman. Having some courtesy and care for those around you is important.
Yeah, I love that, Joe, everything you just said there. And that's the big thing here is just, if you get struck in a major way, self-evaluate, collect yourself, get some space if you need to. And then when you're ready, get back to in the water moving forward again, assuming there's no injuries or anything like that. But, I love, Joe, you mentioning just the breathing, collect yourself when you do get back to swimming, make sure you're as comfortable as possible, breathing to your favorite side, whatever it takes, right, to get moving again and feel confident and comfortable again. And I find for myself, I've never had like a huge, thankfully, in 30-ish triathlons, I've never had huge contact in the face. I've never been kicked really hard, hit really hard, swam over, dunked. I've had contact for sure, but usually you can tell it's just somebody who's swimming. They're not breathing to the side where they see that you're there. Their arm happens to hit your body, hit your leg. Their foot happens to make contact as they're kind of going by you at a weird direction, a weird angle. And I have to remind myself, like it's not personal. They just didn't see me. They have no idea I'm right there in the water. And so sometimes I'll just give like a slight little shove, right? Just to create a little space for myself to let them know, hey, somebody is right here. And I've been on the other side of that, right? You're swimming along, you think you're all alone, and all of a sudden you feel your arm hit somebody. oh shoot, so sorry, I didn't know you were there. Look over,
Yeah.
and so it's just we're all trying to figure it out in the dark, right? We're all looking down in the water, not always aware of where each other are. So just don't take it personally, unless it is
Yeah.
personal. 'Cause sometimes it is personal, but that's a different story. Just making faces.